Hey NBA fans, what's going on? It's Mike here, bringing you a belated video on the Blake Griffin signing with the Brooklyn Nets. Many people thought he was going to get bought out by the Pistons. Whoop-de-doo, he was, and he immediately signed with the Nets, as many people suspected. And all I've seen for the last 2 days is people on ESPN and on Instagram and on NBA Twitter and blah 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 telling me how dominant this is going to make the Nets. How incredibly good this team is now that they have Blake Griffin. I mean, they were already unstoppable. They were already a super team and the best team in the league, and James Harden's the MVP. I'm not against the James Harden MVP, by the way. Like, Joel Embiid deserves it, but James Harden has been absolutely phenomenal lately. We'll get to him in a minute. But seriously, all I've been hearing is how Blake Griffin makes the Nets the clear title favorites. He makes them so much better than they used to be. What are you all smoking? Are we not talking about Blake Griffin? Blake Griffin? This is not Blake Griffin from 2 years ago, in 2019, when he was a deserving All-NBA player, okay? This is 2021 Blake Griffin. The man this season, and in fact this season and last season, because his stats are very similar the last 2 years, has been averaging 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. And he's doing this on 35% from the field and 31% from 3, along with 71% from the free throw line. You guys think that Blake Griffin makes this team a title contender? I'm sorry, not a title contender, because they are a title contender. I'm willing to admit that. They are a title contender, but you think Blake Griffin helps this team? 31-year-old Blake Griffin, who gets injured every other week. He's only managed to play 20 games so far this season. He played 18 last season, and the healthiest season of the last 6 years of his career was 2019 when he played 75 games. Before that, it was 25 games, 33 games, 58 games. The dude cannot stay healthy, but even if he does, and I kind of hope he does, even if Blake Griffin does stay healthy, he does not make the Nets a better team. He makes them a worse team. And for those of you who don't understand how basketball works and you actually think that Blake Griffin does make them a better team, let me tell you why you are wrong. Alright? I just gave you Blake Griffin's stats. I just did. So let's go over the rest of the Nets roster right now. They currently have the best offense in the NBA and the 26th ranked defense, which is actually a significantly better defensive rating than I expected them to have. Specifically, it is 3 whole spots better than I expected them to have, but it's still a terrible defensive rating, especially for a team contending for a title. Alright? That is a bad defense. And what is Blake Griffin good at? Well, right now he's really good at nothing except he's an okay playmaker, but he's really not good at defense. The man's getting hurt every other day. He can't play the perimeter. He can't guard the post. He's kind of an okay forward defender, but even at his prime, he never had great defensive instincts. Not that he was a bad defender, but he was like slightly above average, and it was a lot because of his size and insane athleticism. The dude's a bad defender now, however. At this age, after all these injuries, Blake Griffin is a bad defender. Alright? A bad defender. Let's look at the rest of this team. James Harden. Gotta talk about James Harden first. And I do have to give James Harden props. While he's been on the Nets, James Harden has been having the best season of his career. 25 points, 11 assists, 9 rebounds, a steal, and a block on 50% from the field, 42% from 3, 85% from the free throw line. James Harden has been balling. And if he was on the Nets, to start the season, I might have him as a higher up MVP choice, but right now I still have him below Embiid, below Jokic, and probably still below LeBron, simply because he hasn't been there long enough, and I don't think he'll keep this up the entire season once Kevin Durant comes back from injury. Speaking of Kevin Durant, he's only played 19 games this season, but when he has played, he's averaged 29, 7, and 5. Incredible numbers. 52% from the field, 43% from 3, 87% from the free throw line. The man has not lost a beat. He's arguably having the second best season of his career, other than 2014. Absolutely incredible offensive season, and he's actually been a solid enough defender too. Not a great defender, okay? I remember, this is never going to stop bothering me because I've mentioned it in a few videos now, but somebody at the start of the year told me Kevin Durant was going to be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. absolutely absurd. No, he isn't, but just being slightly above average is good for him. Kyrie Irving is a significantly below average defender, however. In fact, I would say he's one of the worst defenders on this team, and maybe even in the league. He's a terrible defender. But on offense, he has been averaging 27 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and shooting 51% from the field and 41% from 3, also 89% from the free throw line. Dude is balling. This is a three-headed monster on offense. They are the greatest offensive trio in NBA history. Unfortunately, Kevin Durant is the only above-average defender of these three, and he's only a little above average. James Harden, I'm willing to say, is average. He has his moments, but he also has a lot of moments where he doesn't try, and it drags him down, and then Kyrie Irving is just bad. Like, he's just straight up, he's a bad defender. I don't understand how some people think he's good. He is not, he is bad. Okay? Cut out with that crap. Joe Harris is the fourth guy on the team, or he was before Blake Griffin joined. 15 points a game, 53% from the field, 51% from 3, doing exactly what they want him to do. Joe Harris has been having a very good season, and he's been a very good role player, although he only gets to the line, and I'm just saying this now, Joe Harris gets to the line 0.6 times a game. What? How on earth does this dude never touch the free throw line? Holy cow, and he only shoots 70% from the free throw line. That's kind of ridiculous. So that's a really solid starting 5 there. Assuming you have Kevin Durant at the small ball 5, you play some kind of Warriors-like death lineup, that's a really good starting 5, even with Blake Griffin sucking booty. Unfortunately, you look at the rest of the team, the bench is Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan, Bruce Brown, Landry Shamet, Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. Now, all of these guys, not Landry Shamet actually, all of these guys except for Landry Shamet have been exceeding expectations. Bruce Brown has been super efficient, he's been a great defender, not quite all defense level, but pretty dang close. The dude's super switchable, he's great on the perimeter and on smaller forwards, very, very good. DeAndre Jordan looks like he has traveled back 2 years in time to when he was only average levels of bad instead of being the absolute worst defender in the NBA. He's been okay enough on defense and okay enough switching, even if he's not great, and he is shooting 76% from the field, which is a phenomenal number, even if the only offense he provides is catching lobs. Alright? Very, very nice. Who's the other guy? Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. He's been shooting 40% from the field, but that's legitimately, like, with 7 points a game. That's better than anything I would have expected from him. And Jeff Green's been very, very solid for this team. He can play power forward. He plays the small ball 5. 10 points a game, 50% from the field, 42% from 3. Very nice player. Now, the idea for getting Blake Griffin is that he helps their forward depth. And that makes sense for this team, because right now their forward depth is Kevin Durant at the power forward, and Joe Harris at the small forward, and then they either have Jeff Green, really is the only backup power forward this team has. Really the only backup forward they have, period. Like, you can kind of play Bruce Brown or Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot at small forward, but, like, you really shouldn't. They're both really guards. However, this is a problem because Kevin Durant and Jeff Green are also the center depth, as behind DeAndre Jordan, Jeff Green and Kevin Durant both play some small ball 5. So, you add Blake Griffin into the mix, and now, la-di-da, you got a starting power forward, right? And I've seen some people saying that Blake Griffin's going to come off the bench. Whether he does or not, I don't think this helps the team. And let me explain why. Blake Griffin, for his career, has always been a starter. He has never come off the bench before. If he is willing to come off the bench on this team, I don't think he's going to be happy with it. I think it's going to be very similar to Carmelo on the Thunder, where he is past his prime, he's past his time, but he doesn't want to accept it, he's not ready to, and he needs another year or two before he is willing to accept that reduced role. I just don't think it's going to happen. This season, Blake Griffin is shooting by far the fewest field goals of his career per game, with 11. There's only 4 players on the Nets right now who take over 10, and one of them is Joe Harris, who takes exactly 10. Harden, Kyrie, and KD all take between 18 to 20 field goal attempts a game. Blake Griffin's going to want his shots. He's going to want more than 10 shots a game, and it's not going to work on this offense. The Nets' offense has been fantastic, but Blake Griffin makes their defense worse, and I actually think he makes the offense worse just because of how atrocious he has been, despite the fact that he wants his shots. You can't just add a dude in there who wants more shots. I've been saying it all year. This team is like the 2019 Celtics. They just have too many guys who want the ball and not enough guys who are willing to do other stuff. Now, James Harden has been amazing, and he's been passing plenty. But when Kevin Durant comes back, is he going to be okay lowering his shots even more? Getting himself out of the MVP conversation? You gotta remember, James Harden and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are arguably three of the most, guys in the league who are the most concerned with what the media thinks of them, especially Kevin Durant. He left Golden State because he didn't like how he had to share the ball so much with Steph Curry, and he didn't like how people didn't view him as the best player in the world, and didn't respect his titles. Well, now he's here. He wants to be the man. He's back. He's healthy. Is he gonna be happy with Kyrie Irving taking more shots than him for the whole season? Or in the playoffs? No. No, he's not. Is he going to be happy with James Harden, who said he's fine being the point guard, taking close to as many shots as him and Kyrie Irving? No, he's not. I don't believe he will be. I don't believe Blake Griffin's going to be happy with his shots. I don't think Kyrie's going to be happy with his when he's got to share the ball with these three other guys. And I think James Harden, who is likely, in my opinion, to be the most reasonable out of the four, I still think he's going to have an issue with it because he's been having an MVP level season, and he has been amazing. I'm not saying he's necessarily going to, because I don't know as much about James Harden's mentality in form of him wanting his shots, but being an MVP candidate's got to go to your head a little bit, right? We know this dude cares what people think of him, and we know he's not the greatest teammate. I am just waiting for this ticking time bomb of a team to explode. The Nets are contenders, but I still have them as the third best team in the East. I do not believe in this team. I never have, and I never will until they actually win the finals. Because this team does not have the defense. They have too many shot creators, even more now. I thought losing Spencer Dinwiddie for the year would actually help them. And then they replace him with Blake Griffin, who's another dude who needs shots, except he's even worse. Okay? This is a bad trade for this team. I don't believe in this team, and I think they're going to be a second round exit come whenever the heck the playoffs end up being. That is my video on the Brooklyn Nets and the Blake Griffin trade. I'm sure you all disagree with me, but I tell you right now, I am going to be the one getting the last laugh when the Sixers, or even the Bucks, go to the NBA Finals after they beat the Brooklyn Nets in 5 or 6 games in the semis. That's what I'm telling you right now, alright? I'm telling you it's going to happen. I'm calling it. Don't frickin' say I didn't. Thank you all for watching this video. I'm sure you think I'm a Nets hater, and frankly, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't like the team. Not one bit. I can't wait to see them lose. In fact, I'm going to relish in it. Not only because they're an Eastern Conference rival to the Sixers, but just in general, I'm not a big fan of most of them. So yes, once again, hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day.